In this lesson, we're going to be learning Dust My Broom by Elmore James. Old blues tune. Elmore James, known as the king of the slide guitar. So if you're interested in slide guitar, you definitely want to start with some of the original guys and kind of go from there. So anybody that played slide guitar was influenced by Elmore James. And this is a classic slide guitar tune. This lick here, the beginning lick, was used by many people playing slide guitar. So one thing about this tune, and a lot of those old blues players, especially playing slide, is they used a lot of open tunings. So for this tune, we are tuned to open D, so that when I strum all the chords, it plays a D chord. So we need to tune as such to play the tune. So your low E string is going to be tuned to a D, kind of like you would do for drop D tuning. And then your A string is still an A. Your D string still a D. Your G string is an F sharp. Your B string becomes an A. And your high E string becomes a D. So D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. So once you get tuned, then we can start the tune. So the tune starts with a little intro piece. It comes right in with the slide. So that's a slide on the 12th fret. And remember, when you're playing slide, if you've watched any of my earlier slide lesson videos, you want to be right over top of the fret. Not so much when we fret a note, we're right behind it. You want to be more on top of it when you're playing slide. So we're playing basically the D, G, B, and high E strings. And how you want to play this as far as your strum hand, when I play slide, I like to use my fingers if possible. You can use a pick. You can kind of do it any way you want, a combination of the two, but I'm going to play with my no pick. And when I do something like this that's like a chord, I might use my fingernail or my thumb, because I want to be able to right away get to my fingers. He probably used his thumb. You might be able to find some old footage of him playing where you can see it, but 12th fret. Just like that. A little vibrato if you can get it. So I'm just wavering back and forth a little bit. Then you go 10 on the high E string to 12 on the B string, back to 10 on the high E string. Then you slide up to the 12th fret on the G string from, 1 or 2 frets back. And then you hit the open E string, which is now a D. So we have... And it does the same lick again. And before the chord switches to the 4 chord, a normal 12-bar blues pattern, he does this lick. Slides up to the G, on the G string to the 12th fret, then hits 12th fret E string, back to G, and slides down. And then there's, they go to the 4 chord. Now, if you're playing by yourself, you kind of have to do the shuffle thing too, so you're going to be going back and forth. So it's... And that's just, so when we're in open D, your little shuffle thing's not going to look like a power chord like that anymore. It's going to be open, low E string, and A string, like that. And when you move, since you have the slide on, you got to use your pinky, or, some people put the slide on their pinky. You could use your third finger. 5 chord is going to be on the 7th fret. 4th fret. And then we have a turnaround, which I'll show you later. So we're going to have to go back and forth. And we're going to start on the 6th of the chord. So you're not going to start like you normally would, because the downbeat we're hitting that open E string. Sorry. And then you do the lick again. But here is where that, before we go to the 4 chord, so we have so we have, and then we go to our 4 chord, which is on the 5th fret. And then the lick comes again. And then that lick again before the 5 chord. 4 chord. And that's our little turnaround. So the turnaround, you have to pick with our fingers. We go from the 5 to the 4, hit the downbeat, the E, right, or the D rather, and then we do open high E string, and then it's 6th fret, 5th fret, open high E string. Then 8th fret, little bend, and then 5th fret, then open E, 5th fret, B, open E, 5th fret. And then we slide up and play a whole chord on the 7th fret. All strings, or whatever strings. So in real time, the whole thing, the whole intro sounds like this. And then we go into the verse. So the verse is, that lick is present, but it's in a different spot. So the verse starts on the 1 chord, so we just to the 4, back to the 1. And when we go back to the 1, it's the lick. So it's, the verse starts out like this. Then to the 4. Then the lick. Then the 5, the 4, and then the turnaround. And then we do 4 verses in a row. And then there's a little solo at the end. So let me play through a verse at the correct tempo. So we got the intro and 3 or 4, maybe 5 verses, and then we have, anything left is this nice little solo at the end. Okay, so the solo starts out like this. So that's 10 on the D string to 12, and then 11 on the G string, and then back to 12 on the D string. And you're kind of not really sliding from one note to the next on those first 2, but the 11 you can slide up from a half step back, and then back to the 12. Then you start the same way for the second part of the phrase. And that's 10, 12, 11. And then you go 12 on the B string, G string, and 12 on the D string twice. And then it does the same thing again. Actually, the second time, instead of hitting the 12 twice, he goes 12 and then 12 on the A string. So we got... And then when you go to the 4 chord, same lick. Except you hit that 12th fret there. And then we're back on the 1 chord. And then when they go to the 5, it's a little bit different lick there on the 5 chord. Okay, so the lick on the 5 chord sounds like this. Okay, so what that is you got 4 slides up to the 12th fret on the B string. And I'm sliding from, you know, half step, whole step back. Then you slide from 12 to 10, then 11 on the G string, 12 on the D, 12 on the A. And then the same lick we did before. So that's 10 on the D, 12 on the D. That's what it would sound like if you didn't play slide. 11 on the G, 12 on the B, 12 on the G, 12 on the D. And that's how it ends. So we got the little turnaround. And then we go 11th fret to 12 playing the full chord. So we have this on the 4 chord. Then you're back to the 1. And then we go to the 5. And that's how the tune ends. So, really fun tune. Take your time with it. That's Dust My Broom by Elmore James.